So, good evening, everyone. I'm Alison Horn. I am an integrative. Here I am trying to read what I am. I should know what I am, shouldn't I? I am actually an integrative naturopath, a homeopath, and a herbalist. And I love somatic work. So, that's what I do with NeuroFit. And I love coaching. So, learning as much as I can through life coaching, human design coaching. I love being a speaker. I'm also a published author. And I call myself an inflammation code breaker as well as an authenticity alchemist. And it really confuses people because that seems to be a lot. And we buy too much into what we do, but we really need to talk about why we do what we want. And for me, it's all about learning the inflammatory processes that happen in our full spectrum of our body, our mental, mind, and body. And that's also why I love being an independent Zinzino partner, because that is number one, the hugest step towards identifying undiagnosed inflammation that is starting in our body. And we're going to talk a little bit further about that tonight. So let's jump on in. We're all here tonight because we actually want to feel good. We want to stay fit and we want to stay healthy. Yet, it's not the case around the world. We have an increase of health-related problems, especially chronic disease. Inflammatory processes are increasing the rates of chronic disease around the world. And it's time to want to know, if we have so many medical interventions, so many new processes and thoughts and specialists, why are we getting sicker and sicker? What is happening? And we want to know, why is this global? So we need to remember that Zinzino is a global health company. Basically, they started 20 years ago, where they discovered something that wasn't really being spoken about or understood how it matched in with this chronic epidemic. So we have a company who is passionate about understanding what's happening and also a fix for the problem as well, which is pretty exciting. So not only do they know what's happening in the scientific side of things, but they're also backing this in the company to keep driving forward. And I love the passion with Zinzino to inspire health, because they want to see the global network of people happier and
Also, there
healthier
are
and wealthier.
a lot of variety of
Just make sure we're muting everyone, please, as they come through. Thank you. So the scientific advisory board at Zinzino are like no other. They're extremely passionate and, of course, knowledgeable. They all have their own very specific specialties. But what I love is they share that information. So this is not about science in the lab that doesn't really go anywhere else. This is really pushing. And I loved listening to Dr. Paul Clayton today about our new gut test. And we're, questioning how that looks when we're talking to our clients about how they implement this new gut testing and the information that it's providing. And I loved his honesty and his truth when he says, this is just the beginning. This is the beginning where it will show us the direction to move forward. So it's not like we always say, oh, we have all the answers right now. It's like, no, this is the next layer. This is the next level, which will bring with it more understanding, more data to then keep moving forward and forging forward for a better health for everyone. So it's not like, here's the promises, the end of the story, this is just a quick fix. No, this is a big picture. And this is the evolution of health, because our evolution of our genetics just can't keep up with what we've been exposed to in the last 100 years. So all of this Chief Scientific Advisory Board, I'm going into a little bit of detail here, are very, very passionate, but all have that same link of wanting to share this knowledge with the world and take the world on this journey. This is a global project. This isn't just about somebody making some money. And that's what I love, the authenticity about our scientific advisory board. Now, we teamed up with the world's best number one dry blood spot analysis laboratory. Now, this is independent, and this is what I also love about this company. Not only are they coming forward with the data and the information, but it's independently tested and trialed so that we know the information we're getting on one side is being put through this independent, there's no connected information. So everything is not connected through the Zinzino. It's independently run test results. So no identifying information. So when you test your card, for those of you who may be on the call who haven't done a test yet, number one, please, it's really, really important. Follow the directions. Number one, rip the card off, write the date, your name, take a photo of your card number before you send everything else in the mail. Do not lose that one individual card. The other one gets sent away to the laboratory. But that code, that number on there is the only way to identify your personalized test results. Okay, so please, that's the most important thing. Otherwise, you have to do the test again. So we don't want to see that cost. Now you can see that the laboratory is official partners of many very well educated universities that are doing their own laboratory trials around the world. So they are trusted, they are proven, and they tick all of the boxes for being a GMP certified chemical analysis lab. So what are they actually testing? What is this all about? Why do we send our blood away? The story is talking about these two omegas, and some people might not even know what an omega is. So you're going to be hearing a lot about omega 6 and omega 3 ratios. The omega 6, let's just pretend you've had an injury or you're not well, like me at the moment. So the body is actually sending an army in to help you heal. That's our own innate healing ability. It's what we need, and it's what's great. Okay, so we need to bring inflammation to an area to heal. The issue is we need to also turn that inflammation off. So omega 6, let's think of that as the accelerator for inflammation. So we want to call it to the certain areas after injuries or illnesses and say we need a bit of help here mopping up the damage and clearing the debris away. That's what inflammation is all about. And omega is an essential fatty acid. We only get them through our diet. The body doesn't make them very well. They can convert a little bit from the diet into certain ones. That's another journey. But basically, what I want you to know is the body needs to consume it. Okay. So omega 3s, similar, once again, an essential fatty acid that needs to be consumed. But these guys put the brakes on inflammation. Okay, so it slows it down. It says, okay, sweet, the healing's been done. Thank you very much. You can all go back and rest now. It's like thinking about the fire brigade and all the fireys upstairs chilling, waiting for the fire alarm to go off. And then they scramble down the pole and off they go to work. And then they come back and they sit back up and they chill again. So that's the omega 6s. Go chill. The omega 3s have come to work and they've said, okay, time to put the fire out. So it's always this balance between who do we call at what time of the journey. So now that we know what the omega 6 and the omega 3 is, you need to remember this ratio. So literally genetically we are designed as a 1-to-1, but the World Health Organization has said a 3-to-1 is okay. Now that's 3 omega 6s to each 1 omega 3. Sadly, though, what we are seeing through our testing results is this omega ratio is increasing steadily. So what has happened in the last 60 years has been a steady change from when we're used to consuming all our phytonutrients, all our great nutrients from the food that we've farmed. We're picking fresh berries, we're eating grass-fed meat, catching fish. We're eating food that's not polluted. We're eating food that's not farmed with fast growth hormones added, seeds added, etc. So that has been the change in the traditional farming practices over the last 50 years. What that has actually done is brought into it, we want to feed more people faster. And that's changed the balance of the nutrients in food as it is naturally grown. As soon as you try to speed things up or using genetically modified ingredients and pesticides and chemicals, we have taken the balance out of nature. So even our chickens, our fish are being fed grains. So they are increasing the omega-6s in the flesh that we are eating, thinking, oh, we're getting some good essential fatty acids from our meat. The ratios are all changing. Okay, now why is this important? This is my passion, talking about this structure of the cell. You can see there's this beautiful lipid layer around. Okay, we have hydrolipic tails and hydrophilic tails, bodies, heads, sorry. And the two of them have to be in this perfect ratio. It's like bubbles. I talk about blowing bubbles and how gentle sometimes bubbles just bust if you don't have the ingredients of the detergent right, if you've ever experienced that. Our structure of a cell is the same. If it's not in the perfect structure, it becomes rigid. Okay, quite the opposite of a bubble, but it becomes rigid and you can't get nutrients into that cell and we can't get wastes back out again. So the cell actually atrophies and it causes a lot of its own processes to slow down inside. So the number one process that slows down is the mitochondrial function. This is the energy. This is where the powerhouse is. It's like you've forgotten to shovel the coal into the furnace and there's no heat coming out. Therefore, all of the body starts to slow down and it's not functioning properly. We call that inflammaging. Things actually start to slow down, and we think that's just a normal process of aging, but it's actually not. It's a sign that the cells aren't functioning properly. We need to get them back in balance. So this is what happens, this rigid cell where you can't get nutrients in, can't get waste out again, becomes hard, and that's when the body starts to get inflamed. And you can see it affects everything from brain function. Like, I don't like talking about disease diagnostics, but we know that the level of neurodegenerative conditions in the brain have increased. Even dementias, brain fog, forgetfulness, Alzheimer's, ADHD, autism, all of these aspects of brain deterioration, they shouldn't be normal. They shouldn't be on the increase. We talk about cardiovascular health. We talk about our skin. Our skin is a beautiful example of a layer of essential fatty acids in the right balance to keep it, keep the barrier alive in our skin membrane. Our inner organs are all relying on this structure of the cell, especially in the gut. Like we only have one layer of this cell around our gut membrane. So if the cells aren't working properly, then we're in a lot of trouble. Joints and muscles can become inflamed, create pain. A lot of people just go, that's okay, it's just rheumatoid arthritis, it's just aging. And I personally can tell when I'm naughty and I'm not taking my oils regularly. When I get up after sitting down for a while, I do struggle to stretch my knees and my hips, get back on my oil again because I'm human too. Get back on my oil, and then I know that my cells are functioning like this again because I don't have the hip pain, I don't have the knee pain, and I'm flexible again. So it is possible to change our cellular structure and to allow all of these symptoms to be reversed and come back into better functioning. So, do you wait until you have the symptoms, or are we like the iceberg? Okay, so basically, the average person is walking around, they don't even understand that they are in the danger zone. And I know that I am someone who wants to talk about preventative health. You shouldn't be waiting until you have symptoms. We should be looking at ways to detect before the symptoms come in. The medical model is designed to wait until you fall apart before they put you back together again. Here at Zinzino, we are looking at increasing preventative health and being the number one test-based preventative healthcare company in the world. Don't wait till you get sick, especially for this generation.
Your kid's health is personal, not a guessing game. Children's omega-3 needs are different than adults. Not all bodies are created equal, so why should we all take the same supplements? Ours were made for your whole family. Find out everyone's individual omega-3 needs with our at-home balance test. Our brand new Balance Oil Tutti Frutti has a fresh flavor of raspberry, mint, lemon, pear, and lavender, tailored for both grown-ups and kids, with no fishy taste. Backed by science, approved by kids. From the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. Zinzino. Inspire change in life.
Let's move forward. I just want to double check. You can see the screen okay? I'm not covering the whole thing. I just hope that's okay. Okay, why am I passionate about talking about the kids? Okay, children, the health we know, the focus of nutrition and how that affects each generation as we're moving forward. Functional genomics and nutrigenomics is what it's called, is the way nutrition actually alters the way our genes respond and function. So we are seeing a lot more SNPs and a lot more issues within the genetic polymorphisms. And I feel that as a practitioner, to get the next two generations healing and healthy, we need to focus on the children today because they are the ones that take forward two generations. So you need to remember that how we are is a consequence of our grandparents, what they were exposed to nutritionally, environmentally, chemicals, emotions, and that's the epigenetics that we are passing through. So when women are pregnant, especially with these omegas, if a mother has a low omega ratio, then she's going to pass that on to the child. And that is why we are seeing these levels 27-1 with children. This is an 8-year-old child. That's quite a lot of chronic inflammation. They're probably suffering from massive asthma, eczema, ADHD, autism. These are the symptoms that everybody just is expecting as a norm in our younger children, but it's not. We can reverse this, and we need to be doing it now to stop the future generations from suffering. This is an example of why these are statistics taken from a largest database that we have in the world of over 1.5 million blood spot tests that have been done. You can see on the left where nobody's taking omegas at all. Like this is the average ratio from a 0, a newborn baby, to a 9-year-old is around 18-1. That's incredibly scary. They're already born inflamed. Moving across to the next column, you can see that the average person who may be consuming average omegas, that will bring the ratio down at least, okay, to 12-1. It's still inflammation. Once we're using the balance oil, we are seeing the results come back down where they should be, as said by the World Health Organization. Okay, so this is a graph to show you specifically the changes that can happen and why the Zinzino balance oil is making changes that other omega companies are not able to get the results around. But let's talk a bit more about this omega balance. We know statistically we've had the research out for over a decade. This is back in 2008. They knew that this omega-6 to 3 imbalance was underlying chronic diseases back then, but most people have not heard of this. Okay, we know that these levels the lower you bring your omega-6 level down and get that ratio down, we know that we can reduce these risks of cancer, arthritis, asthma even, as well as, check that out, 70% reduction in total mortality. It's huge. Why are they not screaming about this on the news every night is what I'd like to know. The research is there. This is not new, but nobody's speaking about it because nobody really knew how to measure. So this once again is talking about the omega-6s, the polyunsaturated fats, and how they've risen, which are causing low-grade inflammation, oxidative stress, and also endothelial dysfunction, which is also leading to atherosclerosis. So in our cardiovascular health, this was published once again back in 2018. The importance of maintaining this omega-6 to 3 ratio to reduce inflammation when it comes to cardiovascular risks. Pretty interesting. This one, if you said to someone that smoking increases your risk of early death, most people would be like, yeah, I agree with that. The science is in now. We're still battling with that science to understand that having a low omega-3 index is just as dangerous as being a smoker. It reduces your lifespan. Simple. That's what the research is showing. So why is it that out of these test results we are seeing a world out of balance? 97%. So 3% of you in the room are in balance. The rest of you are not. I know I've been naughty. I haven't been taking my oil lately, so I'll probably slip back out of balance again. Hence why I have the sore throat. But the statistics, if you were to say these are the statistics, 97% of people are more at risk of dying earlier due to this low omega-3 ratio index. Wouldn't somebody pay attention? This is why we are trying to spread the word. Why Zinzino is different for this is this combination that they have discovered. The polyphenols in fish is naturally there to protect the omega-3s. But usually in most omega processes, they strip it out of the oils and then they try to add in an antioxidant such as vitamin E later. It's not working. As you can see, this is what we call an oil stability index. It shows the statistics of how different products survive oxidation. So krill oil only survives maybe 3 hours. The normal omega-3s with vitamin E added will last nearly 10 hours in the body. Cod liver oil with vitamin E added will last up to 15 hours. But the difference with Zinzino is this formula with the polyphenols from the extra virgin olive oil. That's protecting the omegas so much, it's over 35 hours. So if you're taking your omegas consistently, that protection is helping, the polyphenols is helping all other aspects of the body to reduce inflammation and to be antioxidant. So another real key important area that we are talking about these days is inflammation in the gut. Most people are now aware that the gut also controls the brain and the immune system. So we know the gut is our primary brain. Our serotonin is produced from the gut, not in the brain. We are looking at how the gut is linked to many other diseases and issues such as asthma, and other autoimmune conditions, where we know the gut is connected with the brain health, with stress, with anxiety. You know, have you ever felt yourself when you get really anxious and nervous about something happening? You can feel that in the gut. We know through the studies the vagus nerve is all connected. So when the gut is inflamed, leaky gut, you can't digest your food properly. You get bloated all of the time. Your bowels are not moving through. We know this is due to the microbiome being out of balance. Now, what's really interesting is we know that your mode of birth, Caesars versus natural births, breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, that can have an impact on your microbiome. Stress during pregnancies will have an impact on your child's microbiome because it affects yours. Antibiotics during pregnancy, once again, antibiotics in childhood diseases. So a lot of the things that we are treating, pharmaceuticals, will disrupt our microbiome. Stress is one of the bigger factors. And it was about 20 odd years ago, doctors didn't even think stress caused anything in the body, but we know that it does, and it's disrupting our microbiome function. So what we love is, yes, we've just released a test, Zinzino, another dry blood spot test, the first in the world, which is looking at the next layer of the microbiome. So maybe you've done a stool test. Maybe they've talked about measuring your microbiome and told you whether you've got too many of this one and not enough of that one. You've got some parasites, some things are happening in your gut. This is going another step deeper. This is actually measuring the functionality of your microbiome. No good just having random numbers in there. We want to know they're actually doing the work. So this can measure the conversion and looks at key ratios once again. Our body is just made up of, it's a biochemical factory and it's all about ratios. Everything that we do is all about ratios, okay? And this is looking at some very specific ratios in the body. So we look and we understand how well your microbiome is turning your food into protection, how your immune stress is pulling energy away from the right pathways, and that way we can see the balance. Are you under stress or are you protected? Okay, the body is all about coming back to safety, and this is looking at safety in our gut. How cool is that? This is a first in the world. So most of the health practitioners will have no idea about this. So this is going deep. So let's talk about this. So the indole 3 propionic acid, IPA, is only made by good gut bacteria from tryptophan. And this is what protects your gut lining. All of those cells that are those single cell layer around your gut, this is protecting it and stopping it from turning into a leaky gut syndrome. Okay, so it's protecting it from stress. So the higher your IPA, the better your gut ecosystem. Okay, we're also looking at tryptophan, which we know we consume from our food, and we want to convert that and help support the brain, serotonin, your happy hormones. Okay, but this is the conversion. It's the conversion that causes trouble. So some people might be consuming a lot of tryptophan, but is it getting converted to the serotonin? So what we know now is this amino acid can go on the good path, which is through the IPA, can help convert it down there. Or if you're under too much stress, it can convert it down the wrong pathway, which is going down to the kynurenine. It's a tongue twister for me. Okay, so your body's getting fueled by these microbiomes, but which pathway are they fueling? Okay, so high KYN is made when the immune system is switched on. So too much autoimmunity, it's under stress. Okay, that's inflammation. So the tryptophan's not making it to serotonin, it's going down this other pathway. How cool is that? So we can actually test your little microbiome and say, excuse me, you need to get back to work. And how do we do that? We support it through feeding the right gut microbiome. So this is feeding the microbiome all the way through the gut. This is mathematically designed. You know, we have very specific types of microbiome bacteria in different parts of our whole gut. The large intestine, small intestine, all has very specific microbiome doing a very specific job. So if you just feed a few up in the small intestine, that's not going to help the large intestine. So this is designed to feed some of the key guys all the way through. Now, I can't stress that enough because there are a lot of prebiotic fibers on the market, and we do talk about consuming different prebiotic foods. But what's happened is over the centuries, our diets, once again, just like we talk about the polyphenols, our consuming in our diet was a very vast range of different prebiotic fibers from different food sources. If you can imagine walking through a field and picking berries and everything and consuming these different foods at different times of the year when they're not available at other times of the year. So you're changing as you go. And what's happened now is we are consuming so much food off the shelf, which isn't real food. Okay, I need you to think about that. It's not real prebiotic fiber. It's stripping the fiber out of our foods. Even when we're juicing sometimes, we're stripping the fibers out. So we need to eat more full whole grain, or not whole grain, sorry, full whole foods. Okay, just eat real foods. But what's beautiful about this is we can boost up and feed our gut microbiome very simply by adding this into our food. So don't forget what we're talking about here with Zinzino is not a replacement for food. This is a support. This is a health protocol which supports your body to do what it's doing through food-based medicine. Okay, this is supporting your current dietary changes and lifestyle factors. So that's what I love. This is so simple and easy. It's heat resistant. It does have gluten-free beta glucans from oats. So people who are celiacs have been able to take this. Once again, I will say though, everybody's an individual. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and you do have to go in very delicate and gently when you're introducing xenobiotic in your diet. Please start with a half scoop, build up slowly because your microbiome might go, whoa, what's going on? Okay, and have a little bit of a hissy fit, and then you go, oh, I feel worse taking that. I'm not going to have any more. Change happens slowly within the body. It took you a long time to get here. You're not going to just flip the switch overnight. Please remember that. And it's not just the one size fits all. This is foundational. This is working at the very base of the foundations of health and healing so that you can allow other aspects of healing, introducing other nutrients and dietary changes, exercises, etc., to really benefit. But you need to have the basics in place. You don't build a house on a crappy cement foundation that it's going to collapse. Why I talk about the balance kit for maternity, please. We want to talk about this to everyone that we know who wants to have children who or is pregnant. Please have the conversation with them because this is the only way we're going to move forward faster to change the future generations. Don't wait till they're born. Don't wait till we have teens with anxiety and depression. We need to start addressing the future generations. Please share the balance maternity kit with everyone you know at that stage of their life. So just talking quickly what's in these kits. We now have the balance test. This doesn't just only measure omega-6 and 3 ratios. Those obviously the key factors, but we're also looking at other 11 essential fatty acid ratios so that we know what's going on. Is it dietary? Is it an immune response? Where are everything playing? You can tell with someone and help them really beautifully in the report they receive with this test result to really go in and see what they've got to change in their diet. Or their diet might be really good, it might be other reasons. So then that's where the gut health test also comes in to see where stress plays in causing that fire still to be happening within the gut. And we also have the HbA1c, which, as you know, is a 3-month look at the body's ability to utilize blood sugar controls. So we're looking at insulin levels there. So these 3 tests are really key indicators. They don't have to come to people, health professionals like me. You can have the health in your own hands, save your money, spend it on a health protocol that you know is going to be the foundational basis moving forward. Then if you still have issues and problems and health aspects later, then reach out to your health professional. But start here first. That's what I start with all my clients. It's like, just guys, do this first before you even come to me, please. Then we're left with seeing a little bit more of the picture that's left. We have the balance oil, which is just your standard mixed up with the polyphenols. We go into a vegan oil, which obviously is algae based. We have the Aqua X, which is a very unique patented formula, which is designed for those people who don't have a gallbladder or really struggle with breaking down the fats in their diet. So if you do have that issue, you have liver issues, then we start you with Aqua X. In the clinic I work in, we only ever use Aqua X with all of our clients because most people have chronic disease and inflammatory conditions. So we start there to just help ease and stimulate their blood flow, their bile flow as well. And we have a premium oil. So sometimes we see people's test results really high. I do like to try to encourage if they have lots of oxidative stress in their life, maybe heavy metals in their dietary side of things, but high levels, we start them on the premium oil to just try to give that extra support with a higher number because this has 30 times the polyphenols that the standard omega balance oil does. So we start on that and then we move back to the balance oil once we get you back in check again. And we also have the Ascent, which are the capsules for somebody who may want to travel. It's easier to travel with capsules or may not like the taste of the oils. But I'll admit, I was someone that hated taking fish oils. It would make me gag. But all of these, I love the Aqua X. It's really easy. I throw it in my shakes. It mixes up really well. Or just pop it with a little bit of water and down the hatch. There's not that usual gaggy taste. So if I can handle it, I'm sure most of you can. And then we have the Xenobiotic. We've got the collagen boost launching very soon at the end of this month, which I haven't included in tonight's presentation, but that's just reminded me I need to up the ante and do a little bit more research in our collagen boost and talk about that now that that will be launching this month. So if anyone's waiting to think about this month is the time, there's some crazy ideas. Join us for one of our business presentations to learn more about that. And we also have the skin serum, which is all I use. I love our skin serum. And if you're aware of of chemicals and you do like to track and see what's happening in a lot of the products you use, which if you have that awareness, the Yucca app does scan a lot of things. It's not perfect. It's still not so good with the essential fatty acid side of things. We need to update people around saturated fat still. But the skin serum actually gets 100 out of 100. Pretty close to it. I'm sure it was 100 out of 100. Whereas there's a lot of very high-end, very expensive brands which don't even get 50 out of 100. So you might want to look in your cosmetic cupboards and start scanning a few things. So why Zinzino? Well, we are approved with these 18 health claims from the European Food Safety Administration. So we know that I always go, once again, back to pregnancy, back to the development of the fetus, the healthier generation moving forward. I'm very passionate about this. You can tell at different levels and layers, of course, not everything happens within a month, but we can fight oxidative stress. We can normalize blood pressure. We're looking at supporting cell division. Even the bone absorption and utilization of calcium and phosphorus is very important. So that's over a longer term, but when you're taking this consistently, as we know, it builds and helps support all the structure and function around your whole body. And it has all of these ticks, and I can tell you my favorite one is the informed sports. If you have Olympians and athletes who are using this product to help their performance as well as their recovery, I reckon it's pretty good for me and you. So that's my favorite tick. I just go, you know what? If they've ticked the box, then they're definitely doing their homework. And that leads me to knowing that this product is obviously therefore beneficial for anyone from gestation all the way through to the grave. Now, I know there are a lot of products out there. Don't use during pregnancy, don't give to children under 16, etc. This is safe for everyone. So once again, it ticks a very big box of mine. So Zinzino, the power and the proof is the balance test. Please test yourself at the beginning. When you do see your own results, you will understand moving forward what you were at risk of developing. And then it's a simple way, just tapping in, keeping in check once a year to make sure that you are ahead of the game and you are stopping, and because you're just following prevention. And that's the best medicine. And that's why the mission of Zinzino is to become the biggest preventative health company in the world. And I thank you so much for your patience tonight. And we will open up for some sharing and questions.